To today's video. This is a B1 level science lesson. Today we're going to be looking at vocabulary that you would use inside the science classroom. So first take a look at the pictures and see if you can describe what the people are doing. So this student looks like she's using a magnifying glass to look at something. This student is using a microscope. And these students are watching the teacher do an experiment. All right, now you're going to match the sentences with the pictures. You can pause the video and try that on your own, or you can follow along. All right, the teacher is demonstrating how the windmill works. That would be picture D. The student is pouring a liquid into a container. That would be picture A. The students are measuring the weight of an item. That would be picture B. And the student is observing something using the microscope is picture C. All right, now you're going to read the definitions and then use the verbs to complete the sentences. And you might need to change the form. So go ahead and pause the video, do that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so I'll just read these first. Observe, to carefully watch, to collect information or data. Investigate, collect data to understand scientific questions. Discuss, talk about ideas, thoughts, and information. And demonstrate, to show how to do something. Okay, so the scientist is probably, I would say, investigating the cause of the disease. The teacher is demonstrating the steps of the experiment while the students watch and take notes. The students are discussing their science project, and the students are observing the bacteria with the microscope. Okay, here are a few more. Explain, provide information about a concept. Analyze, examine information to find patterns and form conclusions. Research, collect information from different sources to learn about a topic. And identify, recognize, and name things based on their characteristics. So again, you're going to use these verbs. You may need to change the form. Okay, so the students are identifying different types of rocks based on their shape and texture. The teacher is explaining the function of different parts of the body to the students. So the student is using the internet to research astronomy. And finally, the student is analyzing the data from the experiment. And here's one more again. You can pause the video, try it on your own, and then restart to check your answers. All right, we have experiment, to try something to see what happens. Measure, to find the size of something. Predict, make a guess about what will happen in the future. Record, write down information to remember it. All right, so the students are experimenting with chemicals in the laboratory. The student is recording the results of the experiment. The student is using a ruler to measure the height of the plant, and the students are writing a hypothesis and predicting what will happen in the experiment. All right, now you can pause the video and complete each sentence with one of the science verbs in the correct form, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so number one, in science class, students experiment with different amounts of sunlight to see how plants grow. The students watch as the teacher demonstrates how a magnet attacks metal objects. Students love to investigate questions like why the sky turns orange during sunset. In class, we discuss why things happen the way that they do. We use a ruler to measure the length of the caterpillar, and during our nature walk, we use our magnifying glasses to observe how ants build their tiny hills. All right, here are a few more. Again, you can pause the video, try it on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Before the volcano erupted, scientists tried to predict when it would happen based on the seismic activity. We usually create a chart with the results, and then we analyze the chart to find patterns. To learn about dinosaurs, we research at the library. Can you record your results in this notebook? During our field trip, we used a book to help us to identify the different bird species we observed in the forest. And can you explain why the moon looks different each night? All right, so now take a look at this science classroom and see how many things you can identify. All right, so we're going to match the things in the science classroom to match each picture with its name. Again, you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So number one, microscope goes with letter B. Slide goes with letter A. Beaker goes with letter C. Skeleton is letter E. Safety goggles, I skipped that one. Safety goggles is letter G. Magnifying glass is letter F. And lab coat is letter D. Here are a few more. Again, pause the video, try it on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Right, so a Bunsen burner is picture D. Gloves, picture B. A petri dish is picture G. An eye washing station, I believe, is picture C. Scale is picture A. A fire extinguisher is picture F. A model is picture E. And the hazardous waste bin is picture H. All right, so now you're going to complete each sentence with an item found in the classroom. And here are the words. You'll just fill in the blanks. So again, pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, number one, we use a microscope to see very tiny things like cells and bacteria. The skeleton helps us learn about human anatomy. Always wear safety goggles to protect your eyes during experiments. To look more closely at something, we can use a magnifying glass. A glass slide is where we place specimens to observe under the microscope. Scientists wear a white lab coat to keep their clothes clean. And when mixing liquids, we use a beaker to measure and hold them. All right, again, try the same thing. Pause the video, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So we use a scale to measure the mass of objects. Put on gloves when handling chemicals. The Bunsen burner provides heat for experiments. A petri dish is a container for growing bacteria or fungi. The red fire extinguisher is there for emergencies. A 3D model of the solar system hangs from the ceiling, and dispose of hazardous materials in the waste bin. All right, so now look at each image and then use these verbs to help describe what is happening in the classroom. So the verbs are demonstrate, discuss, examine, explain, identify, measure, observe, point, teach, touch, write, and the nouns model, anatomy, heart, human body, plant. All right, so the girl is looking into the microscope. That would be well, actually all three of these are describing this picture. So the girl is looking into the microscope, the boy is writing some notes, and the teacher is walking around the classroom. So try to make some sentences out of each of these using the nouns and verbs. So some possible answers. Yours might be different. You could say the girls are examining the model of the human heart. The first girl is pointing to something in the model, and the other girl is observing what she is doing. And both students are learning about the human anatomy. And then here it looks like the teacher is showing the students some plants. The students are maybe identifying the different types of plants. They may be writing some notes about how the plants grow. Okay, again, try the same thing here. Make some sentences using these nouns and verbs. So the students are identifying the DNA model. Here the teacher is explaining the cell model. And here the student is looking at something under the microscope, and her classmate is taking notes in the notebook. All right, in a science classroom, it's important to follow directions, and we can use imperative statements to give directions. Imperative statements use the verb in its base form without the word to. So here are some examples. Pour it slowly, watch what happens, don't touch the liquid. So what do you think the teacher is saying in the photos below? So he might be saying, handle the chemicals carefully, don't spill anything, wear your safety goggles. And here the teacher might be saying, look at this, tell me what you see. So those are all examples of the imperative. All right, so you're going to complete each direction with the correct verb and then match it with the picture. All right, so I'm going to check just to make sure I get the right ones here. So mix the two liquids in the beaker, and that goes with picture A. Look through the microscope to see the cells, that would be picture C. Record or write down your observations in your notebook, that would be picture B. And measure the distance using a ruler is picture D. Same thing here. Use these words to fill in the blanks and then match the sentences to the correct picture. So number 1, follow the instructions in the lab manual. Clean up your workspace and put away the equipment. Observe the changes and record your observations. So follow the instructions in the lab manual, that would be picture B. Clean up your workspace, picture A. And observe and record is picture C. Same thing here. Complete each direction and then match it with a picture. So number 1, examine the plant with this magnifying glass. Draw a diagram and label the parts. Compare the weights of different objects using the scale. And discuss your findings with your lab partner. Okay, so examine the plant with a magnifying glass. Oh, you can see it right here. It's a little hard to see. It's in his hand, so that's picture A. Diagram and label the parts is picture D. Compare the weights of different objects using the scale is picture B. And discuss your findings with your lab partner, picture C. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.